We've done it again. We made it to another Friday. It is the 9th of October. We are pretty much into this fourth quarter, 10th month of the year. A whole lot of crazy still going down, but the one thing we know for sure that because it's Friday, we like to call this thing Bubble Friday. And Bubble Friday is on. I am Jay Cleveland Payne, your host, your guy to shove off Bubble Friday, the guy to start to shove off. That made no sense. I'm here to just talk a little bit for you guys about just being joyful. Oddly enough, I'm not the guy you think of joy and happiness, but guess what? It's Friday. You've mastered the 4.5 of the work week, the traditional work week. You've made it to the traditional weekend. You are here today, live today. So thank you so much for popping in, either as the live pops up or in the future. These things, through the magic of the internets, live forever. These are data and bits. And I'm just taking a little moment here to congratulate you for hitting the finish line of the week. Now, we do it with the Bubble Friday theme. I think the word might be thema, if you will. Well, where you take a little time on your Friday as you are rounding out the end of your work week, rounding out the end of your whatever, to blow away some of the stress and steam that you've had in the past week as you prepare to take on some actual rest time, we hope. Some of you, like me, basically work 7 days a week, and that's an issue that us folks need to work on. But as a way to kind of manage stress at an old employer, we just decided to pull out bubbles, really cheap, really simple. And during breaks, we had an outside area for a break area. Just go out there and blow bubbles at each other. No, we can't end on that one. Have a good one. Tell some jokes, do some funny stuff, giggle and laugh, be like little kids. It was something that we was something we pulled out, and it seemed to work. And a few months back, we were into, I guess more than a few months back now, we got into COVID stuff. One of a friend of mine from high school who observed our Facebook shenanigans and gotten into as well said, "Dude, let's do this again." And so, while technology makes it easier to kind of join out with everybody and be live, timing doesn't work so well because I don't have the best of timing in my actual job I have now. But we're here right now. So take some time today to grab some bubbles. If you don't want to grab the bubbles, you think it looks silly, just take a moment when nobody's looking or when everybody's looking, whatever you want to. And then take a deep breath, inhale, exhale. It's not blowing bubbles, but it is also blowing away some of the stress. And if you want to consume other types of bubbles, if you are of the legal age and can be responsible about it, we always recommend a designated driver if you're going out to do that. Please feel free to, because whatever makes you get a chance to bring down your stress for the end of the week is awesome. So there you go. Good morning very quickly to my mother-in-law, Sharon Green, and to the chess coach, Georgia Morris, popping in live. Thank you so much for here. Like I said, if you pop in, if you see this thing in the future, put a little comment in wherever you're watching it from. I'm using a service that sends it to multiple places, so I can't always see where all the places are. It's a small little glitch in the system. So get your bubbles, release some stress, get prepared for the day, because you still have to get through today, of course, and get some sort of rest or relaxation, or at least a sort of change of pace for the weekend. I intend on doing a bunch of cooking this weekend, and it's really cheap cooking because it's crock pot cooking. So it's literally put it in the pot, go away, watch football, and then come back 8 hours later and have dinner. That's my plan for the weekend. So I also take the liberties, if you will, of a semi-captive audience, kind of do a little bit of commentary on what's going on in the world, what's going on in life, and some of me in general. And today is a semi-me-ish focus thing, but it's something that I guess, been boiling over. I went back and forth on what exactly I was going to sort of chat about today, but I saw this video yesterday, a TED Talk yesterday, that was, I believe it was released. It was released this week. It was taped from a person's home. It was a person who had done multiple TED Talks in the past, back when TED was TED E. In fact, part of the story was about, coming in on the beginning of what TED was. And it was a college professor at a very prestigious college, a college that's very hard to get into. And an alumni of the school, someone who took his class years past, sent an email to the professor to ask about his daughter, the new daughter. His daughter was interested in going to this college. Like I said, it's very prestigious, hard to get into, and he was just wondering what her chances would be. So a good person to ask is someone who teaches at the college. So he had a conversation about the young lady, and she had all these great bona fides, or bona fides, however you want to say that, all these great things about her. And he told this former student, she sounds like a wonderful person that our school would love to have. So the student asked the original question, so you think she has a good chance of getting in? And the professor says, I don't know, but she sounds like a great person that our school would like to have. Because his point was the sheer amount of luck that people have to see to live their life and manage their lives, and especially to be successful. Now, we all think of luck in the definition that luck is basically timing and preparedness. If you are ready for something when the time arrives, when the opportunity is there, then that's all the luck you need. You build your own luck. But the reality is, if the opportunity does not come about, then you don't get that chance. A really big example I use is I compare myself to Tyra Banks. Now, Tyra Banks seems like a lovely person. I know a lot of people could do tabloid stuff and whatever, but she's extremely talented, has done a lot of things, extremely successful in many ways, and seems like a pretty great person. But I'm not married to Tyra Banks. I'm married to a very wonderful person, Christina Payne. I'm glad of that. Tyra Banks is married to her own husband. They've got their own lives. They're doing their own straight things. But the reason why I bring up the fact that I'm not married to Tyra Banks is there's one sticking point that, kind of throws it out there. There's one reason. There's one main reason. There's a lot of reasons why I'm not married to her or any other person other than my wife, including the fact that I married my wife. But the main reason why I'm not married to Tyra Banks is I don't know Tyra Banks. I've never met Tyra Banks. We've never had a conversation. And if we did, who knows? But since we've never actually met, there's no way for us to have any real relationship on any level. So the luck or misluck or just timing of life that I've never crossed paths with this person means that we can't have any sort of relationship whatsoever. Now, I told that badly this morning because I'm rushing to get through this. But the point of the matter is, unless the opportunity shows up, you can be as prepared as you want to, and it won't make a difference. And also, opportunities come before us all the time that we've never expected to see, that we're not prepared for, that we may take, we may miss, when we take a shot, and we're awful at it. And those are the things that we learn from and realize that we get to the points where we realize that, hey, I should either get better at this in case another opportunity comes along, or I need to focus on other things. We are extremely lucky in the sense that if you have the ability to watch this video on your phone or your computer, you are in the 5% of the tops of the entire world, guarantees, and you're basically on the upper echelon of people here in the United States, if that's where you're watching this from. So we are lucky in the sense that we get all sorts of shortish, small-sided, little bitty opportunities to do and grow and say and be. No matter how bad your life is, if you're watching this thing right now, you're in a pretty good place where you have the opportunity to make adjustments and change it. There are people living in absolute squalor, people who are living in absolute torture, people who are not figurative, literal slaves to other people. Those people don't have the opportunity that we do to just flip on a light switch and see the light and do something about things. And if you have the power, you should do what you can to help those people who are in those sorts of need. I know a lot of people who are extremely blessed with gifts and abilities to speak for those people and work for those people and free those people from those types of bondage things. But we are blessed with so many opportunities in our life to do and try things. And the things that bring us down are the lucky breaks that we don't get, or the lucky break that came to the guy who was standing 3 spots in line ahead of us. So they ran out and we got to us. This is something that I know I've really focused on lately, especially when I've talked about just launching the newer podcast project I have going on about trying to stay consistent, trying to stay in the game when things aren't working your way. Because like we said, the reason why this is a big deal for me every week is because I'm not doing this on a larger scale for large amounts of money. Let's be honest. If someone had $1 million check in their pocket waiting to hand to me to do this on some other platform, I would be there. I wouldn't be here. I'm using this platform because it's available. It's what I have. I love it. I love you guys. I love the chance to speak freely as well. But this is the luck that I have here because some other lucky opportunity didn't come to me. And it's not that I was next in line. Not that, I was hanging with Jimmy Kimmel and then Jimmy Kimmel got a big break and then all of a sudden I got left behind. It's not even that simple. Some people get the breaks. Some people get the opportunity. Some people get a chance to do great things. Other people don't get those same things. That doesn't mean they can't be great or do great things. That just means the scale and scope that they're working on is usually much, much smaller. And unfortunately, the level of frustration of not being able to move that upper echelon to higher level gets to people all the time. One of my biggest stressors, my biggest points of my depression right now is I don't get to do the creative stuff I'd like to. And I'm not, a big famous person on doing creative stuff like I'd like to be. And there's a lot of ties and accoutrements and handcuffs that go along with those types of things. But it's just like more money, more problems. Money does not bring you happiness, but it sure does a lot to help you find a way to figure out where it is. And it makes fixing flat tires less of a hindrance to your happiness than if you don't have money. So trust me, I've never been rich, but I've been extremely, extremely on the broke end. And trust me, having a little bit of cash to get through things is a whole lot easier, a whole lot less stressful than not having spare cash. So the point of luck, the point of opportunity, the point of being prepared literally comes down to life. And whether you believe in a person in the sky who's puppeteering things going down, or you think your creator is literally the randomness that came with your mother and your father hooking up at that one point in time, there are so many things just floating around and so many people and beings that you're going to bump into that offer up so many different types of possibilities. And you have to be open to as many as you can. Not all of them, because some of them you already know you don't need to go down that route. You don't need to realize that this wall next to me is really, really solid and hard, and it'll probably hurt if you get slammed into it. You've known enough about physics to realize that solid things hurt when we run into them. And you've probably bumped into a few walls in your past, so you've really figured this one, since it's pretty solid, would probably hurt if you ran into it. You don't have to look for an opportunity to crash into that one again because you've learned that lesson already. That's one opportunity you don't necessarily need to get into. But if a friend comes up with an issue that seems curious, you have the ability to sort of take it on, or you can deal with the loss, if you will, if it doesn't work out. A business opportunity, buying a stock, um, going to the grocery store and getting a candy bar is an investment. And if you buy something you've never had before, you find you don't like it, well, there's a lesson learned. There's an opportunity had. There's the luck of the draw. You've got to make sure that, especially in times like these, you have a true, really a true understanding of just how great things can be. I'm not going to say are, because a lot of times, a lot of people right now are in situations where things aren't so great. People are having their opportunities taken away from them for reasons that are beyond their control. We are literally all being held hostage by a virus, a minuscule little thing that's floating in the air and living in some of our lungs and getting in the way of getting things done. I've not had a chance to meet with a very good friend of mine that we've had dinner with dinner together every week for a good span, like there have been times where we've missed or so, but we basically go months at a time without essentially missing any times. Since the pandemic happened, 7, 8 months, I've not had a chance to hang out with this guy because our schedules don't work out well. But we hang out, we talk, we go through each other's lives, we make each other feel better, we pray for each other. And we've not had that work out because restaurants are closed. And we went to this buffet, and right now I ain't doing buffets. So it's all that kind of stuff. Be open to opportunities, but also be aware that other people don't get the same opportunities. Other people don't get the same chances. Other people don't live the same lives. It's just, I mean, it's seemingly obvious, but if you step out your door and your 4 of your neighbors also step out your door, the 5 of you just stare at each other from your driveways, each of you lives a totally different life. And this is something that my friend Josh Romans has popped up on the live from Facebook. Thanks so much, Josh, for being here. This is something that is really hard it was really kind of weird for me to kind of get into at a young age, because I spent my life from the age of 4 to the age of 15 living around military people, military bases. And when someone asks, what's your dad do? It's the same thing everybody else's dad did. Everyone else's dad literally did the exact same thing as my dad. I mean, there's different levels, and we understood some people were at higher echelons than others, but there wasn't that much difference in what my dad did than what this guy's dad did, what that guy's dad did, and what other people's did around there. It's not really like that in the real world. When I got into high school and went to a rural high school in Louisiana and got to feel people who literally were totally opposites and different from any sort of mindset I had, and different people in different communities who were all different on their own, that was an eye-opening experience. It's also one that I'm still sort of growing and learning into as I'm getting older and realizing sometimes I forget that and get stuck in that concept where I'm in my bubble. I work with these types of people, and that's what's going on. You work with these types of people. They all have different types of backgrounds than what you have. You work around different types of people who have totally different stuff. And all the interactions you have, from including your plumber, including your builder, the guy you call in customer service because your Zoom call went down, your banker, your boss. These are all different people that you interact with for whatever common reason. There'd be a problem that you have to be on the phone with customer service for 10 minutes. And for that 10 minutes, you two are in tandem in that relationship. And then you hang up, they go away. They go back to customer servicing in their lives. You go back to dealing with what you got fixed in your life. And you have to realize that the opportunities that got you where you were different. Now, this is not a knock on opportunities. This is not a blast on people taking advantage of things they get a chance to take advantage of. If you have a shot, take your shot. As long as your shot does not personally injure me, I am more than happy for you and what you have going on. Now, if your shot includes taking stuff from me that literally belongs to me that you don't have a right to, we're going to argue. We're gonna have a problem. But you have to be aware that right now is not necessarily the best time in the world to follow a dream, or you quit your job and live on an island. Live, get in a camper home and decide to live off the grid. There's a lot of things, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of things going on right now that's unfortunately having people losing opportunities that should be there, should be obvious, that just aren't. Keep your head up and keep focused on the forward. Keep focused on the next. There will, at some point in time, be some relief from coronavirus global pandemic life. We may not have the largest gatherings in the world immediately, but we'll have mass gatherings or massive gatherings very soon. In fact, we're seeing more of them now. And as long as people are being precautious and being safe, we are seeing the benefits. We'll get back to our social ability, and even the introvert here, being around people, because it's people that help things get working better. We will have more chances to do more great things, which means we will have more chances to give other people more chances to do great things, and everything's going to grow. My frustration with my lack of creative vision and the progress that's going is a pretty serious thing, and it does weigh a lot on me. But I cannot let that discount all the other blessings that I have going on and all the chances I have to bless other people going forward. Hopefully, this is something on that lines as well. You let me know, thumbs up, thumbs down, and I'll adjust from there. So the main message for the day, other than the fact that it is Bubble Friday, and we'll get to that in a moment. It is Bubble Friday. And while you have to be respectful of the opportunities that you get and other people get, and basically don't be a hater. Somebody's got a good shot and they're doing great. Encourage them, let them do better, because if they do better, that's more along the lines of you getting a chance to do better as well. We are, I think, 23, 24 days. We are essentially to 3-ish weeks away from the election day, the national election on November 3rd in the United States. I'm going to keep saying this because it needs to be done. Early voting here in my state, Arkansas, begins on the 19th. That's next week. So somewhere early for the next few days, I'm taking the family. We're going to stand in line. We're going to make sure we're socially distanced and spaced out, and we're going to get our votes in. Some of my other family have already did their absentee ballots or their provisional ballots that they got done, so they're taken care of. It just became a thing where it's like it makes more sense for me to go in and vote. A lot of things have happened here locally, and a lot more information popped in. So some of the local elections, because of the slowness of information, I've got more information for, so I'm set for those. That's basically what held me back from doing my mail-in ballot or my absentee ballot. So there's some local election stuff that has changed my well, not so changed my outlook, but basically focusing on knowing more about the people, since it's been a really slow way getting information out. So there's that. Vote. I don't particularly care who you're voting for, as long as you're not just popping a button and moving on. Vote for a person who you believe stands for the virtues that you want to teach your children. It's that simple. Now, granted, in the last 2 years, we've had so many people on a national level that have proven that they ran on a platform and ran with a mask, that they weren't who they were, progressives that weren't quite so progressives, conservatives that weren't quite so conservatives, people who stood for, truth, justice, and American way, and were literally cheating us out of money and of resources, and sometimes in relationships. Some of those were really, really weird this last couple times. But forget about all that. So people are out there campaigning. They're putting on a front, putting on a mask. That's what they do. And if they're singing the song you want to hear and you believe enough in them to go for it, vote for that person. And if you find out that they weren't who they actually claimed to be, say, hey, he wasn't who I claimed to be. I'll try to be a little more better next time, but I'm still going to keep in the process, not dropping out because the process is what we have. Get out there and vote. Get out there and vote for my man Josh, who is still in uniform, because the person in charge at the head of the United States and the people we send to Congress directly affect that guy when he gets deployed and has to go out there and protect my life, because I'm not in uniform anymore, and I was honestly kind of soft and sat at my desk a lot. There you go. So get out there and vote. Vote for the person who is going to best represent your thoughts, your ideals, and the people you pray for. And find a way to get it done. You can still get a absentee ballot in some places, still get whatever they're calling the early voting thing. You can go physically early vote at many places very soon. And if not, pack a lunch. Get ready. November 3rd, there's something like 60% of eligible voters vote on a regular basis. And that's 60% of eligible voters. That's basically on a good day. That's not necessarily the standard. You expect 60% of the eligible voters to vote. That's just sort of, that's at the top level. Let's beat that. Let's hit 61. Let's hit 65. Let's get 80% rate out there, people voting, and let's hold the people's feet to the fire to make sure that no one gets disenfranchised, no one gets left out, no one's get their votes discounted, no one gets squashed. And whether you're for the old guy or the other old guy, we'll see how this thing works out. We'll see what happens. And when it's all over and said and done, despite what they say, we will reconcile, we'll get over it, and we'll get better. So if you want to support the efforts of a rambling guy on your Friday mornings, hopefully saying things that are more coherent than not, it helps when you help get me coffee. So you can go to buymeacoffee.com/jclevelandpayne, and you can contribute there by contributing literally the amount of cup of coffee and keep me caffeinated. And if enough cups come in, keep the lights on, keeps the bill paid, keep me in these things. You can also visit my website, jclevelandpayne.net, and then click on the podcast link. We're going to revamp that website because I'm always saying I'm going to do that, but basically it's way too much stuff, way too ambitious. We're going to make it down to basics. Go to the podcast link or go to jclevelandpayne.net/podcast and find a few. Some of them more updated than others. Some of them are coming back. Some of them probably not coming back. If you really want to hear me and my wife review movies, send me a message, because we had a lot of fun with that, and we were just getting our stride and figuring out how we're going with that before life and movie theaters and COVID shut down, so we couldn't do it anymore. So we can do things via Netflix and whatever, and review TV shows. She watches really, really horrible sitcoms, and I make fun of them. We can do that too. All that stuff good and well. So with that, we're going to do one last, or a few last, Bubble Friday blows. Thank you so much for joining me in the conversation. If you see this in the future, thank you. If you saw this now, I'm going to take a few minutes before I do my rounds and check my phone and see if anybody commented in the places where I can't see comments from. Thank you so much for just saying hello, because some days are harder than others. Being a creative in a time like this is extremely difficult when it's really hard to get out there. A friend of mine on Facebook is trying his hand at stand-up comedy and doing open mic nights. We have a couple places here in Little Rock that are finding ways to do socially distance and just limited open mic stuff. And one of the shows that he did recently was full of guys from Memphis, because Memphis is just a couple hours away. They got no clubs that are open. Opportunity. He has an opportunity that's 5 minutes away from his house. Those guys are taking their chances to get an opportunity that's a 2-hour ride away from where they live. But there's limited shots for everybody involved. If the opportunity shows up, if you're ready for it, take it. If you're not ready for it, take it. If it's one that you don't think you want, then don't take it. Your choice. But remember, you get your own opportunities. Other people get their own opportunities. Even if you're trying to get to the same place, no one's opportunities, no one's chances are all the same. And if you have the opportunity to help someone else raise up the stakes and get a better shot at their shot, always take it. Thank you so much. Love y'all all. Hopefully, we'll do this again next Friday.